a mental and an emotional perspective. What feelings arose for me? Was it anger? Was it frustration? And look at it through that lens and journal, and then I do some practices around that. Then at the soul level is, what is the gift in this for me? What am I learning, or what do I need to learn? So there's always a gift when we look at that. And then that fourth level from the energetics is, what do I want instead? And I start to put energy into how I would have liked to have responded instead. So that's from a really practical. So when I start working with clients and we start looking at things through those lenses, they're like, okay, because it just makes so much sense. And it's practical as well, that they can then take it away and start working with it straight away.
Yes, and it's a constant practice.
Absolutely, it is.
Constant practice, because we
Yeah,
trigger with so many, in so many levels and in so many ways, and sitting with that and observing a reaction, at learning from the energetic phase
correct.
and others, or your emotional, or your even layers of beliefs and values, and even, our ego.
Absolutely. Yes. So it kind
So
of takes all that away and just gives us a really simple way to look at situations in our life.
indeed, yes, I like that, because we use it in my program. For example, I have the first step where we observed and work through our limiting beliefs. So we go through a similar uncovering
Yeah.
and questioning of that curiosity. What would it serve me, and how does this serve
Mhm.
me, and who would I be without this thought?
Yeah.
But I think I could take it even further with your example of this alignment, and at a soul level, what do I need to learn?
Correct.
And that will create even more impact, I think, in our
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, from there, that's when we might look at different tools, depending on what limiting beliefs or what conditioning comes up. And then, using tools like our ECR, Emotional Capital Report. Other, might be some tapping, limiting belief, like having to reprogram the neural pathways. So, once we can dig deeper, then we can look at some of those other tools to really support clients to, practice the self-reflection, the mindfulness and that energy alignment,
Mhm.
to support them in terms of understanding their strengths and their gifts.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I wanted to ask you a question that revolves around, if you could share with us a pivotal moment that has shaped your perspective on leadership and your personal growth. What can you tell us?
Yeah.
Moment. And I know that you shared with me before I started the recording regarding your past 18 months and making a decision, a personal decision to support the family more. You can even share that if you want, but that pivotal moment that reshape your perspective on leadership. And I wanted to ask you this because I know that you imparted, you trained so many of us in terms of the leadership space and the emotional intelligence, and I wanted to hear your take.
Yeah, there's a couple. I think absolutely that pivotal one that we spoke about previously was when, and again, this happened. Maybe I'll go back, and then I'll come forward. But back in when I left my corporate career, it was at a time where I had been with the organization for nearly 15 years, and I had experienced, again, got to that, what I thought was success. and feeling unfulfilled. So, got and it was all of that external accolades, got the job, got the everything that I had wanted and worked really hard for over 15 years. And one day I just kind of went, is this it? Like, I was burnt out. I was exhausted. I came home one day from work in really upset because I'd actually had a situation with one of the other leaders, and my son was probably about, I think he was about 5 at the time, and he was like, "Mummy, it makes me sad when I see you sad." And that was just, I just said to my husband then, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to create some change. So that was kind of the first time I went on that real journey of going within and looking at it. And that's when I started studied coaching. I studied meditation. I did, a whole lot of stuff. And then, fast forward another, probably, I think it was about 13 or 14 years of creating my business and doing all of that. And then again, I got to this point of external success, but internal, I felt numb. I felt exhausted, burnt out, just no real sense of fulfillment. Like, I had success externally, but I didn't have that sense of fulfillment. And that was when, I decided that, I made that real, again, pivotal moment or pivotal choice that, okay, I can keep going. But if I do, 5 years' time, nothing's going to change. And where am I going to be then? Or I can take the time out now to slow down, take some time out and really go deep on, who am I? What is it that brings me joy? What is it that I want to contribute to humanity? And the big question for me too was around legacy and around my children.